All right, so apparently we are just now officially recording. I thought it was going to do it automatically, but apparently it didn't. So let's just kind of do a little quick recap. Welcome to Classroom 1 of the Energy Expansion Quest. We will be having, on a daily basis, you'll see me post in the group 2 different types of assignments. One that's going to involve you doing inner, more spiritual type work or inner personal development work. And then one that's going to require you to do something external, outside in the world. Like you're going to see the physical results of it kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to be posting those as soon as we get off the call. The main intention for today's live is to get you guys to identify from what view are you going to see life for the next couple of days. Hey, Mike, nice of you to join us. So with that being said, let me have each one of you just kind of recap and say what is, and the statement is literally this: the energy I'm going to focus on expanding is, and then whatever your focus is going to be. So for example, mine right now is actually the word freedom, right? So the energy I'm focusing on expanding this time around is a sense of freedom. If I can live life from this point of freedom, then things just end up feeling so much smoother, right? There isn't this restriction that occurs for me. So right. Cindy, let me have you go ahead and say your statement.
Okay, the energy I'm expanding on is forgiveness and love.
Oh, lovely. I love it. Okay, so make sure that you post that in the group. I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. What is the energy you are expanding? Okay. Okay, how about you, Miss Anastasia?
The energy I am expanding is cleanliness and simplicity.
Love it. Okay, so I'm posting the question in the group now. So when you come on the live chats, one thing that you want to do is make sure you're posting in whatever comment I put up there, because then you're creating some type of engagement so other people can also see what are your declarations, what are the things that you guys are doing, right? So let's see, where is Trisha? Trisha, we just did yours, so go ahead and give us your declaration.
Self-care, soul expansion.
So you want to say the energy I'm expanding is?
I guess my soul.
Okay, so go ahead and say it as a full statement.
I'm expanding my soul.
Okay, close. One more time. The energy I'm expanding is?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The energy I'm expanding is my soul.
Okay. Perfect. And Michael, I know you tuned in a couple minutes ago. Let me have you unmute yourself and I'll ask you the same type of question. So we're basically creating your mantra or your declaration for the next 5 days. So you heard some of the participants or students, I like calling you guys students, you heard what they got to say. So what would you say is one way of being or an energy you can take on in the next 5 days to accomplish doing all the tasks?
Who are you asked?
I was talking to you, Mike.
Oh, to me? Okay, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so so each of the students has told us what their focus is going to be in terms of the way of being and energy that they want to embody, right? And so for me, it's freedom. I think Cindy said, because they've changed, that's why I want people to post them. And I think Cindy said love and something else. Anastasia brought up simplicity and cleanliness, right? So what would be an energy you can embody in the next 5 days?
Ooh, an energy I can, forgiveness.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Could I embody forgiveness?
Exactly. Yes, you can. Yeah, and there's a lot of freedom inside of my choice word this time around is freedom. So there's a lot of freedom inside of forgiveness. So I posted in the Energy Expansion Quest group the question, what is the energy you're expanding? And so you guys are going to write, and I'll go ahead and put it in the group. And then you want to post it in the group so that the group knows what's your focus, what's your theme, right? But with that being said, you also want to find a piece of paper or a card where you're going to write the statement, and you want to have it somewhere you can see it every morning and every night. Okay, so it takes 72 hours for our brain to make a new connection internally from the time we learn something to the time it really gets engraved into our let's call it subconscious mind. But for that thing to become a habit, we have to repeat it over and over again, right? So for you, Anastasia, that's saying, hey, I want to really be present to more order, simplicity, cleanliness. Those are great things to bring into one's life. And the quickest way I know of to do that is really through repetition. You get to declare it. You get to say it over and over, regardless of how you're feeling in the present moment, right? Because what we're doing is we're wanting to reprogram your brain to have new they call it neuroplasticity, but to have new connections in the brain. I'm going to have to share something with you guys just because as I'm talking more about the brain, I realized that I've spent a long time learning personal development from the stance of neuroscience, right? So what works in developing new habits, having shifts, having breakthroughs. What I had not done in the last couple of years was study what nourishes our brain, what makes our brain healthy. And it's become an interest of mine in the last couple of days because I was sent in to have an MRI and they found some abnormalities in certain parts of my brain. And the doctors don't know why that's happening. And I'm also dealing with autoimmune issues and my inflammatory markers are through the roof, right? So while I am doing all the holistic stuff that I know how to do, I'm all of a sudden very curious about, I don't know if you guys have heard the term biohacking, but I'm very curious about biohacking my brain because I don't want to live my life worried that I'm going to develop Alzheimer's or MS or lupus because my doctor said, oh, so we know this thing is happening in your brain. It could be caused by any of these things. And I'm going, great, all those things are treatable. What do we do in the meantime, right? All right, so with that being said, if you guys want, I can definitely share, like I did last time, some of the videos and audios that I use in terms of repatterning my thinking and repatterning my brain. It's something that I do daily. I do it twice a day. Some people call them guided meditations. Some people call them just meditations. Most likely, if you listen to these, they have frequencies in the background, and those frequencies are meant to activate your cells. Okay, I'm going to erase this, and we're going to go through. Who else do I have on here? I heard somebody else come in. Nope. It's Michael. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about, moving on to the next part, I want to talk about today's assignment. And remember I said there's going to be 2 assignments a day. And I want to also address that there's a point system I've implemented this time around. So for every assignment you complete, you get a point. So if you do both assignments, you get 2 points. And then there will be additional challenges, and those I will call them a challenge, that I will post for people to get bonus points, okay? The whole idea behind this is whoever gets the most points is gonna win a gift card. I haven't decided quite yet what the gift card is to, but you know, it'll at least be a $50 gift card to something. I have no idea if it'll be like an Amazon card or probably Amazon. I like Amazon. Amazon Prime is nice.
I love Amazon.
Right? All right. The other thing I wanted to let you guys know is, we've covered the points. So you get points for completing each quest assignment and each bonus assignment. All right. I posted one on there earlier today, and I basically said, hey, if you invite people into the group, because today is day 1, you'll get an extra bonus point. People didn't know what the points were for yet. Now you know. I like giving things away for free. It's how I built my practice in Modesto. Let's see. What else did I want to cover that I have on here?
I lived in Stockton for 8 years.
You were in Stockton? Nice. Where are you now?
I'm in Southern California now.
Oh, what part?
Temecula.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up in Southern California.
Yeah, I did too. But I'm from New Mexico.
Nice. All right. So Mike, I didn't get to hear from you. What brought you into the quest this time? What brought you into the group this time?
Really wanting to, can you hear me?
Yep.
You can hear me? Yeah. Really wanting to transform my life and take my restaurant to a different level. And it's just time to really make some big changes.
Yeah. Where are you at with your restaurant situation?
Say that again?
Where are you at in the journey with your restaurant?
Oh, where am I located with my restaurant?
Tell me a little bit about the dynamic of your restaurant. Is it already launched? Have you had it a while? Like, tell me this.
Oh, it's already launched. It's already launched. Yep. We've been open since 2017. I built it after having a brain injury in 2011. And I went back to college in 2012, 2014, 15. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for work, but I don't want to sit home on disability. So I live in a town that's rural, but there's a lot of traffic that comes through here because you have to go through here to get to anywhere else. So I bought the building and I remodeled the whole thing, never built anything before. And this restaurant is absolutely beautiful. It's a blessing, everything in it. And we want to make changes in this town and show people love. I'm running for city council as well. And I am the first person of color ever in this area to own and operate a business. And with that comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of accountability. And I am holding people accountable for their actions. And as I do that, it causes some of the ground to shake, but it must be done. And part of this is me transforming to where I need to be so that I can continue to take action.
Nice. Wow, I didn't know all that about you. Powerhouse over there. What would you say? So when you say you want some changes, that changes need to be made, what are the changes you're wanting to see occur inside of your business?
I want to see every seat filled. I want to lower some prices and give people lots of value. I want people to feel at home when they come here, but I also want their wallet to feel at home. In other words, I want a family of 4 to be able to come out and eat for $50. I don't want to break the bank, but and I want people to say, wow, I went to Timberwolves and I had a great meal and it didn't cost me all this money, but at the same time I got value. And look at what that guy is doing in our community and doing for tourists. And and not even me, look at what Timberwolves is doing, because I've learned that you cannot build anything by yourself, and it cannot even be about me. It takes a team, and I'm in that process of building a team. God has been really good. My higher power is starting to send the people that resonate with me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strategically place these people in the restaurant that work for me and in the community to do different things to build the brand.
What kind of food do you guys make?
We do barbecue chicken, barbecue ribs. We do burgers, hand-cut French fries. But what we're getting into, what we're getting ready to do, because spiritually I felt the need to bring vegetarian menu on board for people that want to eat higher conscious foods. So we're going to be making our own veggie burgers, our own veggie mayo. We're going to have all kinds of vegetarian food. So people that want to eat higher consciousness food have a place to come to at an affordable price.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Okay, and so what would you like to accomplish by the end of the 5 days?
I'd like to embody forgiveness, come back into my power, and know that no one has power over me unless I render it to them. And I would like to transcend the wolf spirit within myself, but not the old paradigm wolf spirit, because the old paradigm wolf spirit is, you know, a wolf is always hungry and aggressive. I want to transcend that energy to love and light and sharing.
Love it, love it. All right, let's see. Okay, so a couple of things I want to cover. Michael, you were in last year's group, weren't you?
I was supposed to attend, and I don't think I made it.
Okay, okay. All right, so I'm going to cover a couple of distinctions I want us to get clear about, and it'll tie in with the assignment. Hopefully you guys can see this board. Okay, so which one of you wants to volunteer to do an exercise before I pick someone? Because I am that type of teacher.
Okay, I will.
You will, Cindy?
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
perfect. Okay, so Cindy, you said that what you want to accomplish is being able to speak to your daughter by the end of the course, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So tell me, what is it that happened between you and your daughter?
Okay. It all starts with my brain injury. Because of my brain injury, she says it's impossible that I'm lying to her.
Okay. So she feels she's being lied to. That's what she's telling you?
Yeah.
And how do you know? So what can you tell us? How do you know that she doesn't want to talk to you? What happened the last time you guys spoke?
I saw her at her work at Walmart, and then she gave me the middle finger.
Okay. And why do you want to have a relationship with your daughter?
Well, because she is my daughter. She is
Okay.
also my first grandchild.
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure how to. I guess all my emotions are everywhere right now with her,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't prove to her about my brain injury. I can't prove it to her.
Mm-hmm. So she doesn't believe that you had a brain injury.
No.
Okay. Okay. And when is you said the last time you saw her was in a Walmart parking lot. How long ago was that?
I think a week ago.
Okay. So you haven't spoken to her in a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than her giving you the middle finger, what else happened a week ago? What else happened that day?
Oh, I
with
guess.
her?
Hold on 1 second.
Because I was, my friend was with me, and then I was buying a TV because it was a Black Friday, and then she said, "Oh, you got money?" I said, "No," and then that's when she She just looked at me and she gave me the middle finger.
Let me see if I can, give me a second. Let me see if I can mute. There we go. Okay, I'm just muting the people that aren't talking, Cindy, because I was getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and repeat one more time. What is it that that happened that day?
I went inside Walmart
Mm-hmm.
because it was the Black Friday week. I bought the TV,
Mm-hmm.
and then she said, "Oh, you got a lot of money," and I'm like, "No, I don't." And
Mm-hmm.
then I want to go say bye to her, and she looked at me, and she showed me the middle finger, and then I started crying in front of everybody.
I see. Okay, so that's what we call, and the reason I asked you to tell the story again is we tend to, and I literally do call it a story, all right? Because there's, and I've done this diagram a couple of times, and I tend to do my best to explain that there's a story, and this is the past, okay? So imagine this is the past. In the story you just told us right now, there was like Walmart, and there's your daughter, right? And you told us about the TV, and you told us, you know, that she gave you the finger, right? And you started crying. So this is everything you're telling us went on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even though, and please listen to me carefully, okay? I'm not saying that these things did not happen,
Okay.
right? What I am saying is that we have an interpretation to the things that happened. So if I were to ask your daughter the same thing, she might give us a different version of the story. She might give us different experiences or emotions that she had inside the story. Okay?
Okay.
And so what happens is we have this incident that occurs. For you, it was a week ago. For some of us, the thing that's stopping us may have happened to us when we were a kid. For some of us, it could have been something that happened a couple of years ago, right? So since the whole goal of this next 5 days is to go from a place you've been stuck to getting you unstuck, we want to find out what are some of these stories that I've been holding on to. And you want to write out your story on a piece of paper, just like you shared it with me right now, or you can record a video of your story, okay? Either one works. I've done the assignment both ways with people. I don't think one works better than the other, all right?
Okay.
So there's the story of the past, and then there's the current situation, right? The now, or what we would call the present. And we've somehow, now you're not talking, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, you're probably feeling hurt in the present. Does it still kind of bring up hurt feelings when you talk about it?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a little bit of anger in there too?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Like I said, a lot of emotional, like, I feel anxious to, like, because I don't know what to do. So I feel anxious and stressed out about everything.
Okay. So we think that somehow in the present, right, the experience that we're having, we think that is actually the present. But what's really happening is the experience of the present is coming from your past, and it's just collapsed together.
Okay.
So this is what tends to stop us. It's when our memories, whether conscious or unconscious, kick in, right? So I have a story about doctors, and I'm working to uncollapse my story about doctors. My story about doctors is no matter how many times I go in, they just can't give me a clear diagnosis. So I don't trust them. I don't believe in them, right? And I have a bunch of stories I can tell you about why. So that puts me in a current place where it feels very uncertain, right? I can't really trust them. It's a very scary place to be in, right? Some of the same emotions that you're experiencing, that anxiousness kicks in. But all of it is happening in me right now based on stuff from the past. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does actually. It does.
Okay. So here's the kicker. When we go to create things for our future, when we start to say, hey, like Michael said, right? Like Mike said, I want to do things differently in my restaurant. I want to do X, Y, and Z. He has no idea who he has to become in order to get that accomplished. Because chances are he has stories from the past that are slowing him down or stopping him from those changes. Not that he won't do them, but they will take a lot more work. Okay? So the past isn't even in your present. Your past is actually living in your future. So chances are that if you keep holding on to the story of whatever it is she did, I'm not saying she's right or wrong for it, right? But if you keep holding on to the story of, I felt bad, I cried, she doesn't believe me, all those things that happen, then you're going to most certainly likely end up not talking again, right? If you continue down the same path, reliving that same past, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I want to ask, let's see who else is in here. Miss Trisha, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Like literally pick you. So go ahead and let me see if I can unmute you from my end. Participants. Unmute audio. Okay, Trisha, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, is this making sense to you?
It so is.
So tell me what, once again, thank you, Cindy. Once again, what is the outcome you want to accomplish in the next 5 days?
I think because of what happened this whole year and stuff, like after everybody left and everything, and I was here alone, and I love being alone, by the way, right now. And so it's kind of feeling a healing process, but I'm done with that part. And now I'm, the meditations weren't always working, stuff like that. I want to get back on track.
So here's one of the beautiful things you just said, okay? You said, I enjoy being by myself, right? I enjoy being alone is your verbiage that you use. And then you kept talking, and then you said a very key thing. You said that you were meditating, or you go into meditating, and some of the things don't work. Did I hear that clearly?
Well, sometimes when I meditate, because my mind, because of everything that's gone on this year, I know what I did. I shoved everything down again. That's what I do. And so when I would meditate during this healing process and stuff, the meditation was obviously working subliminally or whatever, but I wasn't feeling like I was getting all of it, Does that make sense?
Yep. We're going to imagine for a moment that this is a dish, okay? A pie dish of all things. I'm not the most artistic, but let's just pretend that this is a pie dish.
That's
and
pretty
let's
close.
pretend that this is like a lemon meringue type of dish, right? So it has all the meringue on top. But in here, let's pretend that this is mud. We even put mud.
Yep.
This is literally what a lot of the personal development people do in our industry. And I say in our industry because I consider myself a teacher, and I'm claiming that I'm a teacher these days. And I see a lot of people teaching things on top of dirt. And what happens is, the reason we're going through this whole like, hey, we want to acknowledge that you have a past, we want to get to a clean slate, is because I don't want you eating mud pies.
I don't want to. No, I don't want to eat them either.
So the big reason a lot of times we have affirmations not work for us, or visualization not work for us, meditation not work for us, positive thinking not work for us, is because we haven't cleared out the mud. Okay? And I was reading to my daughter, I'm homeschooling my kids this year. I was reading to my 11-year-old about the Buddha, because in her history chapter, she's going through different religions. And it's interesting that as I was reading to her about the Buddha talks about the middle way, right? The story of the Buddha says that he was born in a noble family, in a rich family, and that his father made sure that he never saw people dying, he never saw people sick, he never saw poverty, because they wanted to shield him from that reality. Mm-hmm. Right? And eventually he sneaks off one day with just one guard and sees a sick man for the first time. And then he sees a man who's like, he's walking around with a cane, I think is how they describe it. But eventually he realizes that he also sees someone that's dead. Right. And he comes back to his palace and he said, life as I knew it ended that day. Yeah. And so when reality, quote unquote, reality kicks in as we get older, right? Mm-hmm. We've now taken on whatever dynamic our parents exposed us to, or even shielded us from. Because for some of us, our history is very chaotic, right? We had very dysfunctional families. We experienced some type of injustice, some type of abuse. We have a fucking past. Oh yeah, by the way, I curse. FYI. So what happens is we want to do this whole, I want to get better. I want to make, accomplish this, accomplish that. But we're trying to climb this mountain without hitting the milestones that we need to hit to get to the peak of the mountain.
Okay, so when you say milestones, everything that you've talked about, the thing that I think that's holding me back right now is that something really bad happened to me when I was a kid, and it was kind of confirmed to me.
Mm-hmm. Is it okay if we dive a little bit into that?
Yeah, it was sexual assault, and
okay.
But here's the thing. It was my mom's stepdad, and he had done it to his own daughters, to my mom, and then let it happen to me and told me not to say nothing.
Yeah.
Because my dad would have hurt him. And, my dad was his own mess anyway. So.
And how old were you?
7.
Okay. And did you remember this on your own, or was something that was confirmed? When you say was confirmed.
In my mind, the way I made it, in my mind after it happened was that he tried, but I stopped him. I bit him and ran. Mm-hmm. But my sister apparently was asleep in bed next to me, which I didn't remember. And she told me that he did. Recently. Okay. Yeah.
So what did you make that mean about you, Trisha?
I think that, obviously I've had to unlearn everything I ever learned. Like I said, 400 years of Catholicism, and, and I taught Sunday school and everything. So since 2008, I've actually had to unlearn everything. Like I was my mom's biggest fan, and I've had to, be real about everything. And, do the work. But
so here's the thing. So you were 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And once again, I'm just going to draw the circles again, right? So this is the past, and here's the story. And there's a reason we use the distinction story. And the reason is this. At the end of the day, as much as you remember what occurred, our brain will make up stories around it. And you just identified that. You even said, in my mind, I bit him and it never happened.
Yeah.
My sister was in the bed next to me and said that it did happen.
Yeah.
right?
But
So-
in my mind, he did not do it. I got away from him.
So we can add a lot of, and I'm just going to put little plus signs, a lot of things that occurred that day in that moment. And as you got older, our mind looks for evidence to keep supporting what you made it mean. So that's what I would want to hear from you right now. What did 7-year-old Trisha make or say when that occurred to her?
I told my mother right away, and I'll tell you what the most, and it happened throughout my whole life, because like I said, like you said, we come from dysfunction, basically, definitely. She told me not to say anything to anybody, and that was the most traumatic thing I ever heard.
Yeah. So so you see the little plus signs? So
Yeah.
to it, now we've added, I told mom told me to keep my mouth shut.
Uh-huh.
Right? So what did that all mean to you? What did 7-year-old you, how did 7-year-old you walk away making sense of this?
That I can't trust, that even though I put her on a pedestal her whole life, I took care of her like I promised I would.
Uh-huh. You can't
And
what?
Even though I did all that and everything, it made me realize and stuff that I couldn't trust after that. You know what I'm saying? It made it hard to trust.
So I can't trust women. I can't trust men. I can't trust other people. What did 7-year-old you say?
I said I couldn't trust her to take care of me. She wanted me to cover it up, you know.
Okay.
And I'm very honest. I don't cover anything up.
So could we say that 7-year-old you said, I can't trust, I'm all alone?
That's what it felt like then. Yeah.
Yeah. So your statement literally becomes, I can't trust. And the added statement to that for you really becomes, I'm alone, or I'm all alone. Like, which one of those fits better for you?
You know, I don't feel all alone. I said, so
Okay.
I guess I can't trust.
I can't trust.
You know what that is? You know what? That's sink, because that's true. I do have an issue with trust.
Okay. So what we've done here is we really just uncovered what we call one of your core stories.
Yeah, you
Okay,
did.
we all have core wounds, right? We all have our childhood wounds. We all have our stories around things. And so tell me the next time an incident happened in your life where this came up again. The whole idea of I can't trust. And I will give you a clue. It probably happened around middle school, high school.
Oh,
That's
my God.
usually when we get the next incident.
Yeah, the next incident happened when I was in 6th grade. So, you know, middle school almost. And
And what was that?
and the teacher that I had at the time, I was like above average student and stuff, but he was older, and he a big man. He picked me up and threw me against the wall for absolutely no reason. I went home and told my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom told me not to say nothing again. And
Once again,
she tells me I can't afford any problems, and you know what happened? I ended up in the hospital for a week because they could not figure out what was wrong with me. You know, like I was just sick. I was real bad headaches, real bad everything, you know. And,
yeah.
I had just saw my dad break my mom's jaw too. But they sent my mom home and told her to make arrangements, actually, because that's how much I took it, you know? It was like, really? I can't tell anybody anything. And I'll tell you what, I raised my kids totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do that are watching the replay, and also the ones that are in the group. I'm going to post another question in the group, and it's going to be, what's your core wound story? Okay. I'm going to take, this is Happy, guys. She snuck in the room. We have 3 cats, 1 for each child. I know that some of you are in the group because you want to grow and expand your business. And I will tell you hands down right now, the stuff that we're addressing impacts your business too. There's a saying in the personal development space, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so these stories transfer into how we make decisions about our relationship, how we make decisions about our self-care, how we make decisions about raising our children, how we make decisions about how we're going to run our business. My core story was similar, and I'm going to say similar to yours, because the first time that I remember coming confronted with something like this, I was about 5 years old, and I thought my father was playing with me. Turns out he was my stepdad. Found that out years later. But in my world, I thought he was playing with me, and he actually threw me against the wall, and that's when I realized that I had been picked up and thrown against the wall because he was upset. And then later on, as the abuse continued inside of our household, and my youngest, my brother, the firstborn of the boys, was born, my parents were fighting, and my little baby brother was on the edge of the bed, so I scooped him up. He was only a couple of weeks old. I would have been about 6 at the time. I scooped him up, ran outside the house, sat on the floor, and I was just holding my baby brother, rocking him, and my parents came out, looked at me, started laughing. So we're talking about 5 and 6-year-old me literally decided I can't trust men. And my added story to that core wound is I'm a joke. And so I spent the majority of my life, it took me till I was 24 for someone to help me uncover these core wounds. It took me till I was 24 to realize that the reason I was spending so much money on education was because I wanted to prove to someone, not me, right? To my parents, to other people, that I was smart, that I wasn't a joke, right? And so it's interesting how we take our core stories and we, from those stories, make decisions. So we think adult us, grown-up us is running the show. But in reality, it's a younger version of us that has gotten stuck inside us, literally, energetically stuck inside of us, that's running the show. So this is why I always start the courses addressing with people, hey, we're going to look at past derived context that you have. And we're going to dive into figuring out what is the core story you walked away with. And each person's is different. I remember I had a client with weight loss issues. And no matter what she did, she just kept gaining weight. Even if she followed the protocols, she would still gain weight. And turns out that when she was about 8 or 9 years old, she was on a bus going on a school trip, and everybody else had sweaters and jackets, and you know, they were going to go to the Bay Area, which is a lot cooler than the Central Valley. And her mom hadn't given her a sweater or a jacket that day. And so she remembers feeling that moment, I don't belong. I'm not worthy, right? And so that was her protective mechanism. So no matter what decisions she made around her eating and stuff, she kept telling herself unconsciously, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve. So I'm going to post here in the group the next question. What is your core story? Okay, I want to hear from some of you. Great work, by the way, Trisha.
Thank you.
This truly, truly works if people participate. And believe it or not.
And you know what's weird is that when you said the first one, I can't trust and stuff, it was like, bam. That's been my issue all along.
Yeah. So thank you so much for saying that. One of the things I decided 2 years ago is I wanted to be what they call a laser coach. I wanted to be able to talk to people for 10 or 15 minutes and get to the core of what's stopping them. Like literally, that became my mission. So I decided to take a couple of classes with some, in my opinion, very powerful coaches. And out of it, a year later, I developed this capacity. It's not something I was born with. It's just a different way of listening and interpreting information. Okay, so I'm posting in the group the next question. Okay, so this is a reminder to everyone. Each question that gets posted, you get a point. Each quest assignment that's posted, you get a point. You have to participate. That's how you get more points. Okay. All right, let's see. Miss Anastasia, what are you hearing inside of this conversation now? Were you able to identify your core story?
I am definitely thinking on it, but I don't think that I have it identified yet. There's so much.
You're like, girl, I've been through some stuff.
Do you know how many hours I have spent in therapy?
Okay, if you were to, so just for a moment, let's pretend that you know what the story is, right? Let's say you remember the incident.
Okay.
What is the first incident that comes to mind? You're thinking too hard, girl. It's literally first thing that comes to mind. And it doesn't have to be about when you're little. It just literally has to be, what's the first story that comes to mind?
Just, I don't know. I think at my core, like, I feel almost unworthy of, like, the love and stuff that I have in my life.
Okay.
Like,
So what happened when you were little that left you feeling unworthy?
it's not like, it's more like in high school.
Okay, let's go there. What happened in high school?
I spent a lot of time, like, lying and trying to hide, like, depression symptoms and cutting and taking too many pills and, like, all these, like I felt like I acted badly even though I had a very good life and good childhood and loving parents, and, like, I never really wanted for anything, and yet there was still this feeling of, like, guilt and this feeling of I don't deserve all of this because there's something wrong with me.
Okay.
I didn't know how to handle my depression when it emerged.
Okay, so you just hit, I'm going to repeat it to you, and you tell me, how does it feel in your body, okay?
Okay.
There's something wrong with me. Because remember, our core story is something that a little kid can say.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand really. I mean, we could say unworthy, but if I were to talk to 7, 8-year-old you, I doubt she knew the word unworthy and what that encompasses, right?
Yeah.
But when you say there's something wrong with me, all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I can feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's...
And if you start to think about it from this perspective, Anastasia, there's something wrong with me. I can think of several times when you've had your, I don't know what you call your episodes, if you call them relapses or episodes, but you go to the place like something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I would say that's your core story. Sometimes we don't need to identify the exact moment that it happened. Some of us remember it, but it's not a necessary thing for you to clean that slate, right? To start get rid of the mud. You can, I invite you to write in the comments, this is my core story, and then how is it stopping you?
Mm-hmm.
Because what is the impact of you living life, right? Like you being a mom with this statement in the background, something is wrong with me. Being a wife, all of a sudden, even if people want to love you, Anastasia, that doesn't fully land. That's where this whole unworthy, guilt, shame really comes from.
Yeah.
Does that
But
make
no,
sense?
It does. It very much does.
Okay. Great work. That was quick.
Thank you.
All right. Cindy, let me go over to you. I guess we lost Mike.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Cindy, what would you say after hearing Anastasia and Trisha, what would you say your core story is?
My core story is, when I was little, I was abused.
Okay.
I think I was 4.
Okay.
And then I said something when I was in grade 2 to my parents. And then then I only heard about that later because I was too little back then. But my cousin beat up the guy who did it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was my best friend's brother.
Okay.
And then,
So you don't remember the incident, but you know that it happened.
yeah, I don't remember. No.
Okay. So what is, if you were to move forward in the timeline, so you were 4 when that happened, and you're saying you don't really remember a whole lot of it, what's the next incident that you can think of that happened to you?
I got raped by one of my boyfriends who became my husband.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. So you, how old were you when this occurred?
16.
Okay. And so what did 16-year-old you say about what happened?
Well, I told a counselor, but she didn't do anything. Like I said it at school, but to the counselor, but she didn't do anything.
Okay.
So then I just I started sleeping around with everybody,
Okay.
and then I ended up back with the one that raped me,
Okay.
and then I ended up pregnant, and then I married him, and then I got pregnant again, and then I left him. I left him like 6 months after that.
Okay. So at 16, when all this was happening in your life, what do you think you were saying to you? Like if you were to talk to 16-year-old you, what were you saying about yourself?
That I was worthless. Who cares? Like nobody really cares about me because anything I say, nobody will help me.
Okay. Okay, so let's explore this a little more. This whole I'm worthless, nobody will help me. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, because I couldn't talk with my mom because my mom was always sick. She had like bipolar, so she was always sick, so I didn't have her to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I kept everything inside, and I just felt like I was worthless, like no one should
Like
like
nobody what?
nobody should care about me, like I should just let everything happen, I guess.
Okay. So when you say just let everything happen, what do you mean by that?
Um just just like let everything be, just like if someone wants to hurt me, well, I'll just let them hurt me. Um
So,
because like I had nobody to talk to.
mm-hmm. So would you say it's more nobody will help me or nobody cares about me?
Um, nobody, um, um, cares about me.
Okay. And is there an additional thing to that statement or is it just nobody cares about me?
Um, Nobody cares about me because, um, I'm always,
You're always what?
sick. Like, there's always something wrong with me.
Okay. So there's something wrong with me. What do you mean by that?
Like, like, I was told I was always at the hospital for my stomach aches. And then,
So let's go back to this. Sorry to interrupt you, but let me just bring you back for a moment. Okay. So something happened. You went to go tell your mom. Something happened. You went to go tell the counselor and you came up with this statement, nobody cares about me, right? There's something wrong with me. So I want to get a little bit deeper on this. There's something
yeah.
wrong with me. Can I throw out a word to you and like this, and you tell me, and it could be a yes or a no, okay? So nobody cares about me.
Okay.
I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I'm going to say to all of you as you're watching the replay and even those that are on the live call, our core stories are not pretty. They are literally some of the darkest shit we will ever say to ourselves. And it literally is an interpretation of a child. It's something that a child inside of us decided. This is what's going to dictate how I'm going to be as a grown-up. And the reason I'm so passionate about doing this kind of work is because for the longest, I'm telling you, it took me 2 decades to liberate myself from so many of my core stories. And still, they sometimes creep up, but instead of it holding me back for years or holding me back for months or holding me back for weeks, sometimes we're talking about minutes and hours. So our core stories aren't going to disappear, right? But they are the most authentic, darkest truths of the things we say to ourselves. It's that thing that you don't normally tell people you hear. I don't normally walk around telling people I feel stupid or that I feel weak. But my core story really is one of I'm not strong enough. I'm a joke. And that's like the big reality, right? The mask that we put on tends to be to protect ourselves from having to declare those things out loud. Because we don't want the world to know that that's who we really are. All right, so I would write down, Cindy, it's gonna be either something's wrong with me, I'm stupid, or nobody cares about me, I'm stupid. It's gonna be one of those two, whichever one hits you hardest, because I felt it, like I wanted to cry just saying it out loud.
Okay.
A lot of times your core story is going to get you to react viscerally, meaning you're gonna feel it in your body because it's so ingrained in your body. It's not just unconscious in your brain, it really is ingrained in your body. You ladies just shared some very traumatic things that occurred to you. And I'm not saying that those things were bad or good. They're things that happened. And I'm not discounting what happened because I can tell you stories of the type of stuff that occurred with my family growing up, from my father being emotionally, physically, sexually, and even financially a terror to our family. And to this day, I still see that man and I can look at him in the eyes and tell my father, because I do call him my father, I care about you, I love you. That doesn't mean, though, that I don't have boundaries in place to keep my kids safe and keep myself safe, right? Because I'm not telling you, oh, give forgiveness and be lovey-dovey. No, give forgiveness. The forgiveness is for you, not for them. There's a story that Deepak Chopra, was it Deepak Chopra? No, it was actually Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer, in one of his lectures before he died, tells the story of a experiment that was done with guinea pigs. And they took the first saliva of the day or the morning, which is our strongest saliva, of people that went to bed upset and woke up upset about something. And they took that saliva and they gave it to the guinea pigs, and it killed the guinea pigs. So this goes to show, like, and this isn't the only study that's been done this way, but this is to show that we generate chemicals inside of our body when we get upset, when we're worried, when we're anxious. And they are potent enough to create poison. And we're living, we're eating, breathing, swallowing that poison that we ourselves are creating. All right. So one last thing, moving on to the last part of today's call, is now that you've identified your statement, right? And you've identified your core story, we want to move into the next part, which is the fun part. What do you want to create, right? And for that, you're going to want to write a forgiveness letter first. So before we can fully create into a new place, we've got to write out forgiveness for those things we've been holding on to. Now, like I said, forgiveness is more about you than the person that did harm to you. Forgiveness is more about you than that teacher that hurt you, or that stepdad that molested you or raped you, right? It truly is a place to gain some freedom. It's not an easy task to ask you to do. But that's going to be part of your assignment today, is going to be to write out a forgiveness letter. And Cindy, I know you did a similar exercise last time. So this time you're just going to write the letter to your daughter, right? Or you can go a little deeper, and I invite you guys, as you're writing this letter, it doesn't have to be to just one person. Start literally writing all the things from your past that you know you've been holding on to. And if it takes you 1 page, that's great. If it takes you 5 pages, that's fine also. There is no limit on what you're going to write on that letter. But I want you to put the story of what happened, right? Who was there? When did it happen? And the end result of it really is, I let it go, right? I'm giving forgiveness to the things that happened in the past. And if that's how you want to end your letter, that's perfectly fine. The last part of this assignment, when you do the letter, is that you're going to burn the letter. Do you guys have any questions on the assignment? I take it that's a no. Okay, so I will be jumping
Well,
in.
You muted us. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Trisha.
Okay, on what you said about the forgiveness letter, you said to write it and then burn it, so don't post anything about it, right?
You don't have to. I was gonna give you guys like the bonus part of the assignment. Remember, I said you guys can rack up.
Oh yeah,
points?
yeah. So we could put a little, but it doesn't have to be everything. And then
Yeah. So if you want to get the bonus points for this assignment, I want you to burn the letter on camera. Just be safe, guys. Be safe. All right.
I burn.
Either do it in the sink or do it outdoors. But you're gonna get on, and you're gonna post it inside the group. So it's not like the group is private for a reason. So you're literally gonna write your letter. Once you're done writing your letter, I want you to burn your letter.
Okay.
Okay. And you're just gonna say a statement. You know, I'm done writing my forgiveness letter. Here's what I'm let go.
Okay.
Okay. That's it. And then post. It could be a picture. It could be a video. Either one counts. I just want to know that you guys wrote it and that you burned the letter. So the only way I know that you did that is if you send me a video or you send me a picture.
Okay.
Okay.
And
The second part to this assignment is my favorite part, which is the vision board. I want you to do your vision board after you're done burning your letter. Okay. If you haven't done a vision board before, I'll post some examples. But here's what I want you to do your vision board around. It's whatever area you've been stuck in. So for Anastasia, she said, oh, I want to bring more simplicity, more order. Then I want a visual representation of that, right? Mike said forgiveness. I want a visual representation of what are the experiences in your life that you would have if you lived from a place of forgiveness, right? Trisha, what was yours?
mine was I can't trust.
But what was your, the energy you're going to focus on expanding?
That I can trust. That I'm going to
Okay.
expand my. That I'm expanding my soul in order to trust, I guess.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So whatever it means to expand your soul,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That soul expansion that you're talking about, whatever that looks like in terms of experiences is what I want you to put on your board.
Okay.
So my vision board, and I'll take a picture and post it, is in my room. It's the first thing I see when I wake up. I've actually pinned it to my closet wall. And the biggest thing that I notice on there is that I have a bunch of pictures about health. So the energy I'm focused on expanding during these 5 days is freedom. If I experience feeling healthy and the pictures that I have on there, meaning that I can go and do Pilates, I can do my yoga, I can do the things that I enjoy doing, then I'm experiencing that freedom. I also have a picture of a word that says meaningful luxury, right? So these can be words, they can be images. It's really embodying the experience of that energy you're telling me you want to expand on.
Can I ask you a quick question? Okay, it's I can't trust, right? But actually, until I learned more about stuff, I trusted too much. Is that strange? That's strange. And the other real quick thing I wanted to tell you is that I listened to your live earlier about the autoimmune, and then you said something on here that was I've heard it before, and if you ever want to talk, my daughter had a really bad autoimmune where she was misdiagnosed, and it has a good ending. But what you said about doctors and everything, I feel exactly the same way. Exactly.
Yeah, and so in the space of, let's take it a little bit to the woo-woo side, right? In the space of what we focus on is what we create. If I continue to live the story of I can't trust doctors.
Right, I understand that, yeah.
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 And so the place I'm going to with this is I can trust doctors. Doctors are willing to work with me on my alternative treatments. I'm finding the people, the resources, ideas, and things that I need to get healthy.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that's exactly what ended up happening. You know, but at first, like, because the misdiagnosis and everything, it was hard, you know, because I took her back and forth for 4 days a week, you know, for 4
Mhm.
years, So, you know, it was a lot, but it had a happy ending. So it's all good.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to, when we get off, I will go ahead and post and it'll be under units. Okay.
Okay.
I will post the assignment of the forgiveness letter and the vision board. Okay. I see Tari just joined us. We're getting ready to wrap up, but normally our calls are going to be about an hour to an hour and a half, guys. That's usually about as long as they go. I have had calls where people have more questions and they run about 2 hours, but I'm trying to keep these to 90 minutes. There will be a bonus Q&A day. Okay, so after the 5 days, there will be a day where you can ask whatever questions you guys want to ask around mind, body, spirit, soul. Okay. So this is a part where I get to ask you guys what your takeaways are, and yeah. So Anastasia, what would you say is your biggest takeaway today?
You always put me on the spot.
I'm gonna ask everyone.
I know, but you put me first. I would say I'm looking forward to doing the vision board part of it and like just the focusing work, because I think that's what's gonna help me hit my goal the most is focus to clean up.
And what would you say is the biggest part you're having to clean up this time?
Probably my habits and self-care and my personal space. Like while I've been on the call, I've been working on cleaning my desk, so I'm doing something with my hands and being productive and just trying to make things feel less chaotic around me.
Love it. Awesome. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and go to, thank you, Anastasia. How about you, Trisha?
Well, I think it's amazing about the trust issues, but and I've had a blank vision board sitting in my meditation room for like 6 months now. I'm curious, like, what does trust look like?
Yeah, so this is, you know, most people will tell you like, okay, put in your vision board like the car you want, the house you want, right? I am telling you to tap into the experiences and emotions you want to have, right?
Okay.
So focus more on the feeling of the things. And yes, there's going to be images. So for me, meaningful luxury means being able to travel to Disneyland and, you know, be able to get my kids whatever they want at Disneyland without me having to go, oh, do I have enough?
Yeah.
Right? For me, meaningful luxury means being able to travel to visit my friends around the world.
Right.
Right. Believe it or not, I have a picture of Starbucks on there because Starbucks makes me happy.
It makes me happy.
Makes me happy, but particularly the experience that Starbucks delivers each time I go makes me happy. So Starbucks is on my board. So it's really about what are the emotions? What are the images that amplify the emotions you want to experience?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you and gratitude.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, how about you, Cindy?
I thank God that that like you're in my life, that you're able to help everyone that join your group.
So what are you taking away for you today? Like, what was the biggest, like, aha, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, or this is great?
I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid.
Yeah. So
Like,
was it,
when I say it, it's I know how like I'm just Oh, wow. I'm taking away, like,
That was too.
the forgiveness, like, the whole thing about forgiveness.
Okay. Those are two big things. All right. Thank you, Cindy.
That, you're welcome.
All right. So I'm going to, let's see, how do I mute everyone? Participants, mute all. Yes. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the call. I want to thank you guys for coming on the live Zoom call. And as you watch the replay, listen from the point of how does this apply to me, right? Don't necessarily listen from the point of, you know, oh, she's sharing her story about this. It really is, how can you identify what you're wanting to get out of the group and what is it going to take, right? What is that energy you have to focus on to get things accomplished? And then identifying your core story, right? And how is that, what is that stopping you from doing? And then lastly, letting go of everything, right? Letting go of everything you've made up, because our core stories are totally made up from some incident that occurred in our past, but it's stopping our future from happening the way that we want it to. So from a clean slate, if you go through those 3 steps, you can go on to create your vision board and post it. Bonus points for you to post your picture or video of you burning your letter, and bonus points for you to post your picture or a video of your vision board, okay? You guys have 5 days to complete the assignments. I advise you to try to do them as we go. Otherwise, it's going to feel really like a lot of stuff towards the end of the program, all right? What else do I have to say? That's pretty much it, guys. Until tomorrow, the live stream is going to vary in times so that I can give people opportunities to be on here. So tomorrow's live stream is going to be in the morning, around 10 o'clock. I think we set it for 10 o'clock. So I'll go ahead and post it in the group. If you want to be in the live call tomorrow, it'll be at 10 a.m. And the times will just kind of alternate between morning, afternoon, and evening times. Until tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and post the units for you guys. Lots of kisses. Thank you for participating, and good luck.